paper presented. VegasInsider.com coming off a nice 3-2 night yesterday. Shout out Jordan Poole hitting for us plus 140 over 3.5 3-pointers. Hit a lot more than 4 3-pointers last night. So try to bring that winning energy right back into today, where we have a lot to discuss. Best bets for NBA, college hoops, NHL. We have our official UFC 284 preview. Then in the second half of the show, a little bit of news out of the NBA. Right, we all woke up to it out here on the East Coast. KD to the Suns, so we'll break that down a little bit. But let's bring in my co-host for the day, senior editor over at Betsided, Iain MacMillan. Now, Ian, let's get to the bottom of something right off the bat before we get into the picks. Now, you were scheduled to appear with me on Monday's program, but we get an unfortunate email about an hour before the show. You were calling in sick. So let's figure this out. Were you actually sick, or were you fabricating something to get out of your appearance on the show that day? What is the deal here? Let's settle the score. What's up?
You'll never know. I'll keep that to myself. No, of course I was sick. I woke up feeling like absolute trash. I don't know if I just pushed too hard at my 10K race on Sunday or what. Monday was tough, though. I hardly left my bed.
All right. We'll take him at his word that he was actually under the weather, but we got a ton to get into here, guys. So let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off in the NBA. And of course, we're going to give you what everybody is here for. Everyone has come for a pick for Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. So we're going to lead off with a prop here, the big Bulls Nets game here tonight. So Patrick Williams over 4.5 rebounds. Sneaky little play here coming in at plus 104. So check out the game logs for Patrick Williams. He's topped 4.5 rebounds in 9 of his last 10 games, an average of 5.9 in that span. Nets are getting absolutely dominated on the glass right now, allowing the 4th most rebounds per game over the last 10 games. And he's played them twice this season. 14 total rebounds in those 2 games, 7 boards in each contest. Give me Patrick Williams, baby! Over 4.5 rebounds plus 104. Okay, Ian, shifting over to college hoops. Your best bet, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at the West Coast Conference. Joe, I was on this team last week, I think, maybe the week before, and it cashed for me, so I'm going to ride with him again. I'm going to go San Francisco, the Dons, plus 14.5 against Gonzaga. The juice is minus 115. I got a note on this pick. The Bulldogs from Gonzaga do have an offensive advantage, but San Francisco can hang with them in that area. Gonzaga second in effective field goal percentage in the country. San Francisco 47th, so still inside the top 50, but where the huge advantage comes for San Francisco is defensively. You look at defensive efficiency, San Francisco comes in 124th, Gonzaga 190th. Opponent effective field goal percentage, San Francisco 85th, Gonzaga 247th. Huge advantage for San Francisco there. On defense, also Gonzaga is vulnerable on the perimeter. This is going to be important because San Francisco has the 4th highest three-point shot rate in the country. 49% of their shots come from beyond the arc, and Gonzaga is 210th in opponent three-point field goal percentage, allowing teams to shoot 34.6% from three-point range. Give me San Francisco to keep it at least kind of close, plus 14.5 against Gonzaga.
All right, we move back to the NBA sexiest game of the night in the association. We have the Bucks taking on the somewhat new-look Lakers here. We're going to stick with the hot spot. Give me the Bucks to cover the first quarter spread coming in at -2. So indeed a red-hot spot for the Bucks that we've been playing quite a bit around here lately. Check out their last 10 games, coming out absolutely flying. Top 3 in the NBA. In both first quarter EFG shooting percentage and first Q opponent EFG shooting percentage. As a result of that, they ranked first in the NBA in first quarter point margin in that span, plus 8.4. That is 3 more points than any other team in the first quarter. Lakers, by the way, below average at 17th, minus 1.6. Let's keep the trend going. Doesn't matter if they're at home or on the road. A 901 ATS first quarter run on the road for the Bucks. Give me them to take care of business in the opening frame versus the Lakers. All right, Ian, let's hit the ice. What are you looking at first in the NHL?
Taking a look at a total bet tonight between the San Jose Sharks and the Florida Panthers. That's a high total, but I do not care. I'll take the over 7 between the Sharks and Panthers, plus 110. Panthers have reverted back to the Panthers that we've come to know over the past couple seasons. All offense and no defense. They are scoring, over their last 10 games, they're scoring 4.45 goals per game and allowing 3.46 goals against per game. That's an average combined goals of 7.91 over their last 10 games. That's a lot of goals. In net for the San Jose Sharks tonight, looks like it's going to be Crap O'Kakinen. No, Tito! That was too slow. Doesn't count. 874 save percentage on the season. 874 save percentage in January. Kakinen has not played well between the pipes for the Sharks this season. Also, both these teams inside the top 10. In fact, inside the top 7 in shooting percentage over their last 10 games. Panthers coming at 4th. Sharks coming at 7th. So they've been pretty hot offensively as well. Take the over 7 at plus money between San Jose and Florida.
Yeah, I sense producer Tito a little unfocused coming into the show today. We got a long way to go, so we can make up for that. Okay, next up, we're going to stay on the ice, and we are swingers around here at Chasing That Paper. And tonight's swing of the night, the Vancouver Canucks plus 195 in New York, taking on the Islanders. This line is way off. Matchup is much closer than these odds indicate. Where are you getting this number from? Plus 195? I know it's been a rough stretch for Vancouver, but look at some of their recent losses. The Rangers, Devils, Oilers, Avalanche, Lightning, all great teams. So of course they're not exactly lighting it up right now. And despite playing that great competition, the analytics edge goes to Vancouver in this game. Over the last 10 games, they come out ahead in Corsi percentage 4. Expected goals percentage 4. High danger chances percentage 4, with a much better shot differential in that span, and decent showings in the second game of back-to-backs for Vancouver. This might scare some people off, but check them out in this spot this season. Wins in the second game of a back-to-back versus Pittsburgh as a plus 170 dog, versus Edmonton as a plus 185 dog, versus Carolina as a plus 240 dog. Show this team some goddamn respect. Give me the Vancouver Canucks plus 195, baby. All right, Ian, bring it home. Your final pick in the NHL. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a puck line bet here. I don't like betting puck lines. I bet one last night, and the Rangers couldn't score on an empty net. But I love this one too much to not bet on it. I'll take the Edmonton Oilers minus 1.5, plus 135 against the Philadelphia Flyers. The Oilers, red hot over their last 10 games. Over that stretch, they're 8-1-1. They're 6th in Corsi percentage, 1st in goals scored per game at 4.78, 9th in goals against per game at 2.39, 1st in expected goals percentage, and 1st in high danger scoring chances percentage. Red hot, this Oilers team. Now is the time to buy in on them, especially that now that they're facing a Flyers team who has been terrible defensively, 21st in expected goals against over the same stretch of games. And just look at these shooting percentage numbers. Oilers coming in at 3rd over their last 10 games. Flyers can't put the puck in the net, 26th in shooting percentage over the same stretch. I will back the red-hot Oilers to win in what I think is going to be a blowout against the Flyers.
The Oilers, baby. All right. All right, there you have it. 6 picks, our UFC picks coming right up, guys. A lot of people will be opening a new sports book this week. Of course, big game coming up on Sunday, the Super Bowl. I recommend opening up an account at BetMGM. Great offer for you. Let me tell you a little bit about them. It's never been easier to bet with confidence. That's because the king of sportsbooks is giving you a can't-miss first bet offer with up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS. You get a first bet offer up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer of up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Just use the code VI bonus. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Okay. Big sports weekend. Of course, we got the Super Bowl on Sunday. We have a UFC pay-per-view on Saturday night going down in Australia. It is now time for our official UFC 284 betting preview. So let's get right into the picks, and we're going to start in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski coming in as a plus 310 underdog, moving up to challenge the lightweight champion, 155 pounds, Islam Makhachev. And guess what I'm doing here, guys? I am taking a shot on the dog. Volkanovski, the pound-for-pound king. Let's make a big dog bark in this one. So this line is way off. Did people not see Volkanovski's last fight where he completely beat the brakes off Max Holloway? Did people not realize Volkanovski is on a 22-fight win streak? This man hasn't lost since 2013. And he's sitting here at plus 310 versus the guy who has just one win versus someone currently ranked in the top 10 in the lightweight division? Give me a break. Islam sitting here somehow dismissing the pound-for-pound king, talking about already moving up to welterweight to conquer that division. This guy has 0 title defenses. Mocking Volkanovski's height. Don't overreact to that size difference. Volk is the shorter man in the majority of his fights, and despite this, still #1 pound-for-pound in the world. And he actually has a reach advantage in this fight. No doubt about it, this is the toughest test of Islam's career. Nice win over Charles Oliveira, absolutely. But Volkanovski's a different animal. He's a cardio machine with an insane plus 3.26 striking differential in the UFC. This ain't Bobby Green or Dan Hooker. Give me the pound-for-pound king, Volkanovski, as a big dog plus 310. All right, Ian, let's drop one fight. Co-main event, what are you looking at?
I like the underdog in the co-main event, the interim featherweight title here. I'm going to take Josh Emmett plus 150 against Yair Rodriguez. I think Josh Emmett might be one of the most underrated fighters inside of the UFC. He's 18-2 in his career, 9-2 in the UFC. His only loss is came via split decision in 2017 and a knockout loss to Jeremy Stephens in 2018. And sometimes that just happens when you're fighting Jeremy Stephens. Josh Emmett, huge defensive advantage in this fight, which I think could make a big difference here. He stops 63% of the significant strikes thrown at him. Yair Rodriguez only stops 53%. That is a 10% difference in defensive percentage here. Also, watch out for Josh Emmett's wrestling. He hasn't used it a ton in the UFC, but he could utilize it to his advantage here in this fight. He did wrestle in junior college. Also, he's a member of Team Alpha Male, and we all know a ton of wrestlers come from that camp. So keep an eye on that wrestling of Josh Emmett this weekend as well. Give me him to win, pull off the upset at plus 150 in the co-main event.
All right, we hop right back up to the main event. Makhachev Volkanovski. I like this fight to go to decision, coming in at plus 130. So, of course, we all know Volkanovski is an absolute decision machine. He's gone to the scorecards in 8 of his last 11 fights. He's never been finished in the UFC, and these men have combined to be finished just 2 times in 50 combined fights. I think that there's a possibility that wrestling could chew up a lot of clock here, a lot of time potentially up against the cage and down on the mat. Big question for this fight, how will Islam look in the later rounds? If he can't get the early finish, as he tends to do versus much weaker competition, how will he hold up versus the pace and volume of Volkanovski? The longer the fight goes, the less likely we are to see a finish. I like this one to go all 5 at plus 130. All right, Ian, what are you looking at next?
Yeah, another main card fight here. I'm going to take Jack Della Maddalena to win via KO/TKO at minus 130. Against Randy Brown. This guy might be the next big thing in the UFC. He is an absolute animal. 8.45 significant strikes per minute. That's a lot. Now he's taking on a Randy Brown who doesn't fight very defensively. Only 54% defensive rate. He's going to get hit by a lot of those 8.5 significant strikes per minute. Also, Della Maddalena. 11 of his 13 wins in his career have come by knockout/TKO. His last 3 fights in the UFC have come via first-round knockout. I think he's going to finish this fight via KO/TKO. There's a reason why it's at minus 130. I still think it's worth a bet there, so that's my second UFC pick. Della Maddalena via KO/TKO.
All right, my final pick. We have an absolute steal of a bet here. Heavyweight fight taking place on the main card between Justin Tafa and Parker Porter. Under 2.5 rounds, we can get that at minus 140. This is an absolute steal. These men like to throw that leather. 6.49 significant strikes per minute for Porter, 5.02 for Tafa. Each of them have awful striking defense. 5.94 significant strikes per minute absorbed for Tafa, 6.32 for Porter. And take a look at their fight careers here. 27 combined fights for these guys. Only 6 of them have gone the distance. This is an absolute steal. Someone is getting knocked out. Tafa, Porter, under 2.5 rounds, minus 140. All right, Ian, bring it home for us. Your final pick for the pay-per-view. What are we looking at?
Yes, I'm looking at a prelim fight here. Let's see if I can pronounce this guy's name right. I'm going to take Melsic Bagdasaryan, minus 105. I think that wasn't too bad. Minus 105 against Joshua Kulibau. Did I pronounce that one correctly? Who knows? But Bagdasaryan, big advantage in striking accuracy here. He lands 62% of his strikes. Kulibau only lands 44%. That's an almost 20% difference in striking accuracy. Not only is Melsic more accurate, but he also has a higher pace with his significant strikes. 6 significant strikes per minute compared to 3.06 significant strikes per minute for Kulibau. Also, Kulibau's record not impressive. 2-1-1 in the UFC. His last win came via split decision against a fighter that's 0-3 in his last 3 fights. I'm kind of surprised that Bagdasaryan is a very slight underdog here. I'll take him minus 105 in the prelims.
Minus 105. Maybe a little bit of an under-the-radar pick for Ian there. So we put a poll up on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed this morning. So you guys weigh in your pick for the main event here at UFC 284. A bit surprising. 64.7% of the people on Volkanovski. I think he's being really undervalued. I mean, he should be the underdog in this fight, but a 3-1 dog versus Machaev, who's been great, but as we all know, he doesn't have a lot of wins versus elite competition by any means here. So, Ian, you know I like Volkanovski here. Who do you like in the main event?
I also like Volkanovski, Joe, for all the same points that you said. I will say I do disagree with you at one point, though. Actually, if I were to bet on the fight going the distance or not, I would bet it on not going the distance, even though I know both fighters have historically gone the distance. Volkanovski fights an extremely fast pace. Machaev throws out a lot of submissions out there as well, so they do have the ability to finish some fights. So I would disagree with you on that one, but in terms of who wins, Volkanovski at 3-1 seems like the right bet. I will say I'm a little bit concerned about that many people backing a 3-1 underdog, though. That seems not ideal.
Yeah, as they say, square dogs have fleas. Shades of the national championship college football game. A little bit there. Everyone on TCU as a big dog in that one. Strange comparison. Volkanovski and TCU. Have they ever been compared? Probably not. Okay, let's talk a little bit of NBA. Woke up to some big news here this morning. Jakob Poeltl traded to the Raptors. Ian, your instant analysis on that one.
Wasn't he on the Raptors at one point before that? Am I right or wrong in saying that?
He was. He was drafted by Toronto, and he got traded in the Kawhi Leonard deal.
Bring him home.
Back.
Bring him home. I love it.
Yeah, Raptors making a push for the championship. But in all seriousness, the biggest news of the night in the NBA, we all woke up on the East Coast to see that Kevin Durant got traded to the Phoenix Suns. $1 for a bunch of quarters, essentially. And the story of this Brooklyn Nets franchise, KD and Kyrie came in and they burned this franchise to the ground. And the Brooklyn Nets absolutely deserve it because they let these two players hijack this franchise. What did they accomplish during the KD and Kyrie era? Absolutely nothing. 7 total playoff wins. They got 2 separate head coaches fired. They made them trade all the depth of the team for James Harden. How did that work out? KD, Kyrie, and James Harden played in 16 total games together. All they have to show for that is a corpse. Ben Simmons. Is Ben Simmons even going to be in the league in a couple years? He's not trending in the right direction by any means. And guys, I do not want to hear it for a goddamn second about all the assets in the haul that the Nets got back for KD and Kyrie. They traded dollars for quarters here. Did they get any all-star level players back? Absolutely not. Bridges is a fine player. Sure, he was the 4th best player on the Suns. You think Dinwiddie's going to be a big difference maker in the playoffs? Absolutely not. And I don't want to hear about assets. These late first-round draft picks, they're not assets. They are ass. You know what they are? They are lottery tickets. You think Brooklyn fans are excited about having the 26th overall pick in the 2026 draft because they traded KD and Kyrie? This franchise, you can make fun of the players and call them selfish, whatever, they missed all the time. This is on the Brooklyn Nets. They are the biggest joke in professional sports right now. And this is probably the end of the player empowerment era because we're seeing it just backfire massively. It backfired massively here. We saw in the NFL, Russell Wilson comes over to the Broncos. He has his own office in the building, bringing in his own people. How did that work out? The player empowerment era coming to an end. So, Ian, I got to ask you, you lived in Brooklyn for about a year during this KD, Kyrie era. Were the Nets a big deal? Were they the talk of the community when you were living there?
No, but I can't really say I didn't really go out in Brooklyn much. There's not really too much going on in Brooklyn. Even at the games, it didn't really feel like the fan base at Nets games, because I did go to a few Nets games. It didn't really feel like they were very passionate about their team. I will say my coworker Reed Wallach is, I would say, the biggest diehard Nets fan in the world. Go look at his timeline if you want to get depressed, because it's sad. He's been tweeting nonstop since it happened. I don't think he's slept. I think he sent 85 tweets so far about it. He's in a bad place right now. So shout out Reed Wallach. I feel bad for him. I think the only diehard Nets fan on the planet. But no, even when, like I said, even when I went to Nets games, not exactly a passionate fan base. It felt like when the people that were there were just there to, like, you know, have a night out in the town and go see something. It didn't really feel like they cared when they lost at all or when they won. So no, I think the Nets are now back to being an irrelevant franchise, unfortunately.
You got to fire that GM, Sean Marks. These guys are pathetic. How they just completely bent over for these guys. They fired 2 head coaches for these guys. And Kevin Durant, I think this is 4 years of his career just completely wasted. Kevin Durant, 34 years old. He gets injured every season. He misses a lot of time. Kyrie saying he felt disrespected by the Nets. I'd love to know what was going on behind the scenes where Kyrie felt so disrespected. But, man, I think it's kind of a bad look for the NBA a little bit. It's fun for us fans. We can have a laugh at it. It gives us something to talk about. The NBA completely hijacking Super Bowl week. Now, before that, before we went to bed here on the East Coast, the Lakers made a big deal. So much added depth for them. They said goodbye to the Russell Westbrook failed experiments, you know, someone like the Clippers, potentially. It looks like Russell Westbrook, will get bought out by the Jazz, maybe a team like the Clippers, rumored to pick him up. Maybe they could rejuvenate his career a little bit. I still think that there's a ton of talent there with Westbrook, but he's a bit of a square peg into a round hole situation with Westbrook. But yeah, good move for the Lakers. It gives them a lot of depth, but they got a long way to go, man. They're in 13th place in the Western Conference. You look at the teams ahead of them. Maybe OKC could take their foot off the gas here in the second half. They've been known to do that. The Utah Jazz, they just traded a bunch of guys. I don't think they're very interested in winning. Things are looking pretty bleak for the New Orleans Pelicans up there. 2 games over 500. Is Zion coming back anytime soon? And the Golden State Warriors might be in a little bit of trouble themselves. Steph Curry is going to be out for a while. A lot of talent. Yeah, but the Lakers do have a lot of ground to make up there. You take a look at the updated odds. The Phoenix Suns now have the 3rd best odds to win the NBA championship. They have the best odds in the Western Conference, plus 460. That puts them behind the Celtics and the Bucks. Lakers, they're at 65-1. They would have to do something drastic. I think they should trade Anthony Davis, who's an absolute bum of the the highest order. Did you guys see this the other day? LeBron sets a record. The whole team, everyone in the arena, unless you're in a wheelchair maybe, was standing up to cheer for LeBron. An iconic moment in sports history. Anthony Davis sitting on the bench. What the hell was that about? So yeah, the NBA, it's like a video game. It's like 2K, right? It's crazy. The player movement, it is a lot of fun, but maybe not the best look overall. Ian, I got to ask you about something NBA related. I don't know what the exact quote was in your tweet, but you had tweeted something in regards to, and I had a big thing about this yesterday. I think LeBron James is just massively disrespected and underappreciated by not everybody, but some. They hold the low moments of his career against him. But something in regards to, you think that you would have LeBron ranked above Michael Jordan?
Yeah, Joe, I thought you were going to bring up my tweet about Luka Garza last night, who has been killing it the past couple of games. What, 26, 25 points last night? Luka Garza age is finally here, like I called for years now.
The best Luka.
But some would say. Yeah. About LeBron and MJ, I think people look back at Michael Jordan, and this kind of happens a lot of things pre-internet, I find, where they look back at things with like a nostalgic lens, almost because it's like the internet almost shoves everything in your face so much that you kind of get sick of it. And I think that's kind of what's happened with LeBron. I think that is starting to happen a little bit with Patrick Mahomes. And I think if people didn't look back at the 90s and Michael Jordan through this nostalgic lens, I don't think people would be making the argument that he's better than LeBron James. I don't know, Joe, if you saw the clip of J.J. Redick making the case for LeBron James. And I'm not an NBA guy, but J.J. Redick kind of laid it out. Statistically, no matter what you look at, LeBron James has been a better player than Michael Jordan. But people just say, oh, Michael Jordan, though, he was the greatest, and he just had that culture about him. I just think it was because people just look back at the 90s and that era through a nostalgic lens, largely because the internet didn't exist, so there was like a myth about Michael Jordan because he wasn't doing corny shit on Twitter like LeBron James does. I think if MJ played in the current era and LeBron played back then, I think people would have a lot more respect for LeBron James because they look at him through the same nostalgic lens that they're looking at Michael Jordan. So I think statistically, I don't think there's much of an argument who the best basketball player of all time is. I think it's LeBron James.
Yeah, the internet builds people up to tear them down. You're starting to see people, half the people like Tom Brady, half the people hate him. I know you hate him. And people tend to dislike people because of how good they are. Nobody dislikes and hates on the seventh best player on a team, for example. But yeah, people hold LeBron's lowest moments of his career against him. You absolutely have to. That absolutely melted in that series, NBA Finals versus the Dallas Mavericks. First one with the Heat, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a point about that. Why do people hold finals losses at such a high regard? Doesn't Michael Jordan have like 4 first-round losses and LeBron doesn't have any? Am I wrong in saying that? Yeah, but everyone brings up the finals losses. Isn't it worse to lose in the first round than in the NBA Finals? That never gets brought up, though. It's always about the finals record.
Yeah, the fact that you make it to so many finals, that's an accomplishment in its own right. You know what I mean? Right. LeBron has a bunch of gold medals and he has a bunch of silver medals. You can look at it like that, right? And guys, Michael Jordan did not even come close to the same level of competition that LeBron has faced. I discussed this yesterday. That Golden State Warriors team with prime Kevin Durant and prime Steph Curry, with a great supporting cast and a great head coach. Are you kidding me? Chicago Bulls going up against Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, good players. Def left shrimp. The level of competition, not even close. So it's a fun debate. I guess we'll never know the answer. I think if LeBron could win another championship at one point, though, that could help settle things a little bit. But that all of a sudden LeBron setting that record, that's old news now after what happened with Kevin Durant. And I just cannot believe this Brooklyn Nets team. Biggest joke in sports right now. Okay, guys, let me tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips. along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, features, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Producer Tito weighing in. LeBron has lost once in the first round. Jordan lost in the first round 3 consecutive years.
There you go. Nobody brings that up.
Yeah.
6 total times Michael Jordan has lost in the first round. Isn't that way more embarrassing than losing in the finals?
Yeah, and there's such a double standard with this stuff too. Like whenever Kobe did something like extremely selfish or against the team, people would be like, "Oh, he's such a killer. He just wants to win." Like Kobe tried to get traded to the Chicago Bulls, and people are like, "Oh, he's just such a winner. He'll do anything to win." But meanwhile, LeBron switches teams, goes to the Miami Heat because the Cavs had 8 years to build a team around him. They couldn't. And people call him chicken shit, ring chaser. You know what I mean? It's absolutely silly.
Yeah, I will say LeBron, he hurts himself by being fucking corny as shit, to be honest.
Yes, there's that.
It doesn't help his case that he is like the corniest guy of all time on social media. That hurts his case. But people should not be taking that into consideration when just looking at his resume as a basketball player.
Yeah, I think if LeBron James didn't have social media,
yes,
people would look at him a lot differently, and everything is, a lot of the criticism of LeBron is 100% fair. Everything with him is so orchestrated, and there's the politics of stuff. Like he gets into these situations where he starts talking about stuff and he doesn't exactly know what direction he's gonna go with it. Then it becomes a clip and people just take that and run with it and make fun of the
pretends
guy.
Like he's read The Godfather 5 times.
Yeah, that was a rough one. There's a lot of examples of that with LeBron. So a lot of bad looks for LeBron over the years, that is for sure as well. Okay, let's get into some viewer picks here, guys. We had a couple of submissions here this morning. A couple of regulars weighing in. Matty Puppy Sports. Liberty, minus 15.5. That's a big number versus Bellarmine. You a big Bellarmine fan, Ian?
Love Bellarmine.
Yeah, okay. Liberty, 11-0 ATS in their last 11 home games. Money-making team at home. This year, Liberty has won all of their home games by an average of 23.6. Liberty won the first meeting in December in Bellarmine. 70-53. Good luck, Matty Puppy Sports. Give that guy a follow. Nathan Schreck.
Let's go.
Here we go. Okay, Nathan, he likes the Sharks and Flames. Hit the over 7 goals plus money, high number. Sharks are on a 12-4 run to the over on the road, average 7.2 goals per game. Panthers 7-0-1 to the over in their last 8 at home, average 7.8 goals per game. Sharks first in both expected goals for percentage and high danger chances for percentage over the last 10 on the road, 5-on-5 play. Panthers second in those categories, last 10 games at home, 5-on-5 play. There we go. Schreckengoss, baby. Okay, guys, let me tell you about today's handicapper heat check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today's featured expert is Kevin Thomas, who went 4-1 across all sports yesterday and is on a 10-2 NBA run. Tim Michael nailed 10 straight NHL winners, and Scott Rickenbach extended his college hoops win streak to 15-1 his last 16 picks. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's top expert picks. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Yeah, baby. Ian, plans for the Super Bowl yet or what? You're just watching it at home with the better half?
Yep, just watching it at home. She suggested going to a bar. I will not do that. That sounds like a nightmare. I will just be watching it at home with some snacks.
So did you make plans? I know you were over the moon about the idea of enjoying some matzo sticks.
Oh, yeah. Matzo sticks. Did you make matzo sticks, wings, potato skins, and pretzels.
Okay. Takeout?
No.
No, yeah, I was going to say like potato skins and nachos for takeout. It's a no-go.
No, they're soggy by the time you get them.
Exactly. Okay, so what else do you have going on out there in the cyberspace world that Chasing That Paper viewers can check out?
Yeah, not much. Bacon Bets podcast this week was for the WM Phoenix Open, which is already teed off. So I guess you can get some live bets in. But Joe, you and I collab bet this week for the winner of the WM Phoenix Open. We are both on the same guy.
Oh, yes. Tony Finau, baby. Okay. Okay, so we did our big Super Bowl show last Friday. If you haven't caught that yet and you want to know who Ian and I like for the Super Bowl, we each did our 6 best bets. That's up on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel right now. I think it's pinned to the top of the page. So make sure you're subscribed to the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Make sure you give this video a like as well. It's very easy to do so. Ian will be back tomorrow. We're going to be breaking down our favorite plays in the NBA, the NHL, college hoops. We'll be giving out our final thoughts on Super Bowl 57. This 2-week break, it's too long. I don't find that there's a lot of buzz about, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I consume a lot of media. Maybe it's because the NBA is taking over here, but I can't wait to get to this game. I find the 2-week break is too long or what?
Yeah, but it makes sense. I think the week after, I think that's a little bit too quick of a turnaround for such a big event like the Super Bowl. So, I mean, unless you have a Super Bowl midweek, it kind of has to be 2 weeks. So, but it does feel long. It's a little bit drawn out. I just want Sunday to get here. I'm ready.
What about this idea? I like the idea of them doing the Super Bowl on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I like that idea. Or the Monday after should be a national holiday.
Well, that's it, because in the U.S., there's next Monday is a holiday, I guess. I'm up here in Canada, and people say that they should always push it back so that, next Monday is a holiday.
I see what you're saying.
In the States, the Monday after the next one coming up. But do the Super Bowl on a Saturday night. I think that'd be great. We can all sleep in and nurse the hangover the next day. But I don't think that's going to get changed anytime too soon. Okay, guys, make sure you tune back in tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper.